What is a man?
A man is a miserable little pile of secrets.
I actually had a glass from the kitchen and I just threw it on the floor.
Oh my god.
Hey,
A
Internet.
miserable little
Welcome to
pile
Course
of
for Nowhere.
secrets.
No Ivy this week. I'm your host, DJ Armacorth, and I do have a guest on today. What was your handle?
My handle is Tits McGee.
All right, I got Tits McGee on with me right now.
I'm gonna do this entire section in Hick, if you don't mind.
Does Hick match up with Castlevania?
I really don't reckon it does, but it doesn't really matter to me as long as it got skeletons chomping around, people hanging off of chains. I don't give a shit.
Let's see
Doesn't
how
really
long you
matter
can-
what kind of logic you got going for it.
So it's just going to be the official episode where nobody knows what the fuck they're doing, because
I don't
I've
really
only
quite
played like
understand. I don't know.
I've only played like about 40% of the games in this franchise, and you've probably only played like 40% of the games in this franchise, and I don't think any of us have touched a game in this franchise like post 2008.
That's okay. It doesn't really matter because what matters is heart and soul, and we got a lot of that going right here.
Souls. Sorry, wrong game.
Souls.
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 Coke.
Souls.
Coke.
Souls.
Coke.
Souls.
Coke.
Anyway,
That's
so
fucking
Castlevania.
If anybody even understands that reference, and you didn't even quote it right, if anybody understands that reference, good for you.
Dude, I haven't watched Decline of Gaming in... Well, I don't know. We rewatched it the other week when we were all watching dumb fucking YouTube video or Newgrounds videos together. But I haven't watched like Decline seriously since I think 2009.
Yeah, that sounds about right there.
Yep. But what we're really talking about is Castlevania.
Or at least so they think.
I don't know. We're probably just gonna use
But what
Castlevania
we're
as a
really
really.
talking about is undercurrents of homosexuality.
Oh, I got that too. I mean, who has to say they're mutually exclusive? I mean, look how pretty Alucard is.
Oh, yeah, he's a fucking man-chilled right there. I want to get all up in his greasy-ass thighs.
So, dirty confession time. I've actually never played Symphony of the Night until like last week.
Yeah, it's a goddamn shame because it's a fucking good game. Everybody calls it Metroidvania, and it is really comparatively very similar to Metroid when you look at the map styles and the backtracking and the functionality of it. But in the end, you get a whole different ambiance and sort of musical structure, and the entire castle flips upside down at the end of the goddamn game. What you get at the end of Metroid, you just have to run through the thing very fast. Who gives a shit about that in comparison? I do, because I like Metroid, but maybe some other folk out there with their sissy-ass whips and their goddamn hanging fucking chandeliers and shit just want to play some Castlevania.
Well, for me, I've just hit the point in the game where I have to find the stuff to flip the castle upside down. I've got the map. I filled out most of the map. And so I figured now I've got to find the shit to flip the castle.
Yeah, it's about 3 things, I think. You might even have more than you actually think you have.
I probably have more than I have. I know I've got the wolf
'Cause
transformation, and that doesn't do dick.
I think you need a... yeah, what was it? You need a cape and like a ring or something, and then maybe one other little thing like a belt or a sword. I can't remember. It's been so damn long since I played that fucking game.
Right, like we are so underprepared for this shit. I don't.
I mean,
even care.
what's it really matter? We're just gonna get on here and just fuck around. At the end of the day, fuck it, right?
I hope they like us. I really hope they like us and they stick around, because this might be where we lose both of our listeners.
Who? You mean you and I?
Yeah, it's basically just our only listeners are when the hosts miss that week and then just tune in to see what they missed. You got that gaming
that's
channel
okay.
though.
I mean,
you got that gaming channel where you're starting to get some viewership, and you're not throwing any of that love this way. What the fuck?
Not yet. I just say what I wanted to do is I wanted to like build up a little bit of a audience or something like that, and then like get a social media going. You know, just like a little Facebook page or maybe a Twitter page or some old bullshit. I was gonna work on that when I was over in Switzerland this summer, and maybe get, you know, some Photoshops going on and brighten up my YouTube channel a bit. Because I don't want to be throwing around any goddamn recommendations at this point in the game. People are just going to think I'm plugging shit for the sake of plugging shit. Next thing you know, people ain't going to be paying no goddamn attention right off the bat. And then I'm going to lose the possibility of viewership. It's all this fucking mental mind game shit you got to play a little bit. And at the same time, it's like I love people and I want people to enjoy my stuff. and I put a lot of effort into it too. Whereas when I get on to this kind of bullshit, where I just get up and talk and shit, that isn't necessarily a lot of effort. That's just me spewing shit out of my goddamn mouth, and that's how it goes sometimes. That's why I sit around and edit so goddamn much, and I only get 3 minutes of material.
Well, I know my girlfriend was talking about how, hey, you guys are doing some video stuff. Why don't you guys like actually pair some really nice photos along with all of your dialogue lines and maybe script some stuff out? And I told her that's probably a really good idea. That defeats the entire purpose of what we're doing.
Yes, it's like we're going against the grain and trying to break the meta a little bit. Well, I mean, you get a lot of people out there doing the same goddamn thing when you look at YouTube. It's just people ripping off of each other left and fucking right. I figured out my gaming channel was actually like the whole premise behind it, Battlefield bad loadouts. Other people been doing that shit before I was even doing that shit. And it's like, there's nothing new under the sun. So why the hell not just break the meta and be goofballs on the internet? Who gives a shit?
We hang out and we... The thing is, this is fun for us, and we don't have an audience, really. We're just kind of doing this. Two main things is, one, because it's just fun. And two is because there is some technical stuff that I especially started so I could learn audio engineering.
And I started it so I could learn how to, like, talk.
Talking's important.
I'm just messing with you. I didn't do it for that. I got on here because I wanted to get a little bit of just a little more things under my belt, learn a couple more things, because I never really done like this kind of stuff before where you sit down and talk with other people about this nerdy ass shit on the internet. I've actually just done it in real life, and I wanted to see if I could translate over the fun of it a little bit, and then like maybe later on in the game we'll actually get a format going or something like that. But right now, shit, doesn't really matter. We're just having a good ass time learning.
I know I got started because I like the Rooster Teeth podcast, a couple of other ones, and then I found out I had a classmate by the name of El Goro, and he hosts Talk Without Rhythm, which, I guess we can plug. He has way more listeners than we do. And so he invited me onto his show, and I had a lot of fun. And I thought, well, I need to keep doing this. And so I grabbed DJ Kyber, and we started up, I guess, the predecessor podcast to this called Endless Library. And that's a train wreck. We got 2 good episodes, and apart from that, it's all just an absolute disaster.
Well, as long as you were having a good ass time. I know I heard a couple of them disaster episodes. It was kind of interesting.
Well, the first one we did, I don't even remember the title of the film, but it was this really weird Hong Kong fantasy film.
That sounds beautiful.
And it was like schlock gold, but then we got to talk about it, and we realized, oh wait, there's zero substance here.
That's a goddamn shame.
We can talk about how we had no real like anything to add. It was just kind of like, so that was weird. Yep, that was weird. Yep. And that was it though. Although I think the worst of it was neither of us knew how to make an intro.
Oh, well, that's just comes with the territory. I don't even know how to fuck make an intro. I guess I could right now.
Not like put together like music or some speech and putting together like a coherent like OP. It was just neither of us knew how to actually introduce ourselves.
Hello, this over here is the fucking Media Nomad, and then you got me over here. My name's Arma, and we're going to sit in front of these goofy-ass little microphones right here and talk about some stuff.
So we did that, and I think the only 2 episodes that we finished up that I am proud of that show was there's one where we actually had another friend of mine. She didn't take a screen name, or she didn't take a DJ handle. It was just Lucy, and we talked about a book called Last Call in the City of Bridges.
I've never heard of either of them books.
No, it's a really solid read if you ever get the chance to do it. I can actually send you a link to the episode. You can listen to that episode.
I could listen to you talk about a book.
You can listen to me and another girl who's not our co-host talk about a book.
All right, I might give that a shot.
So we've got that, and then the only other episode I was proud of from that is when we talked the first season of Black Mirror.
It's a great show. I especially like the second episode of the first season. That one's phenomenal. 50 million merits or whatever it's called.
Something like that. I think the very first episode is still my favorite.
Oh, the one with the pig?
Well, mostly because it's about how old media reacts to new media being a thing. And
Yeah,
as
it's
someone
very interesting.
who's got an undergrad in journalism and a guy who's gone back for grad school stuff all about communication and media theory and all of this other stuff, that's super, super interesting to me. And so it was really interesting to watch that all play out.
Well, yeah, I could see that being very interesting indeed in a situation like that.
And I wouldn't mind even trying to take on the newer seasons of Black Mirror sometime once we get Ivy back.
Well, season 2 is pretty goddamn good. It's got some shining episodes in it, but it's also got my least favorite episodes in it as well. So it's like a roller coaster ride. And then season 3's got some gems as well. Season 2's obviously got the John Hamm episode, White Christmas or Black Christmas, or whatever the hell it's called. I think it's called White Christmas. And that's just a royal mindfuck right there. You're going to sit down and watch that with goddamn Coors Light in your left hand and your dick in the other. And you're going to go, wow, I'm pretty sure I'm half chub.
I mean, I'm always full chub for John Hamm. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, fair enough. I mean, like, I don't even like his character in goddamn Mad Men, but I love the way he acts his character in Mad Men, so what are you going to do? Anyhow, but
yeah.
you know what's also got some substance and stuff like that is a little bit of Castlevania.
A little bit of Castlevania.
This game's got some great substance right here. So we're gonna be talking about Simon Belmont, and we're gonna be talking about the music score a little bit. And we're gonna be talking about the giant eels that come out of the goddamn walls and stuff. It's gonna be a good ass time because and we're gonna talk about that goddamn Medusa head and the shitty ass anger and pattern that is fucking 8-bit gaming. Ugh.
Yeah, see, the only Castlevania game I played pre-Symphony of the Night, in terms of release date, was Castlevania on the Game Boy. Not like the GBA ones, because I played I think all of those. But
Wait a minute, did Symphony of the Night come out before Castlevania 64?
Let me double check that.
Because I was gonna say I thought 64 came out before that.
Let me check, because I have Castlevania 64. And
Yeah.
I can tell you, don't play Castlevania 64.
No, don't even touch it. It's a goddamn shit pile. Not a good game at all.
Here's the thing, like, as bad as you think the game is, I can promise you it's worse, because when I bought the game back in high school, I did not know, I bought it used, I did not know it required a memory card, so I couldn't save. So if I ever died, I had to start the entire game over.
Oh man, you poor thing. You had to be. It's like growing up and waking up in the morning and then going to school and then getting bitch slapped by the bully and then having to get thrown back, growing up and then dealing with waking up in the morning again. That shit sucks.
I think at one point I made it to level 2, and every time I died at that point, I just restarted at level 2.
That's gross.
But then I had to turn off the system because, eventually you have to turn off a system.
Yeah.
And then I was right back to square one.
Yeah, that's shitty right there.
Because at first I thought, this game's just really unforgiving, and then I found out, no, you need the memory card. Okay, so 64 was 99.
There's a difference between forgiving and complete horseshit. All right. And then Symphony of the Night, I think that came before that. 64 was 99? Shit, Final Fantasy X was coming out in 2000 or 2001. What the fuck?
And then Symphony of the Night was 97. So yes, Symphony of the Night does predate 64.
Well, wait a minute. I just said Final Fantasy IX came out. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, it did. It came out in 2001. Okay, I thought I was misquoting myself right there. Did you ever play Final Fantasy X?
This is the internet. Nerds aren't going to correct us.
Oh, bullshit. So, did you ever play Final Fantasy X?
I have played 4, and only 4.
Oh, that's
Remember
right.
we talked about this when we did the Final Fantasy music episode.
Yeah, you're a little cuckold when it comes down to Final Fantasy. I forgot. My bad.
I'd just be rather... some of us want to, waste all of your time with, the turn-based shit, and some people want to go slaughter vampires. You do whatever you want, man.
What if I want a little mixture of both? What if I want to be able to turn around and then stick my dick in a different game system? That's kind of like why I like video games so much, because you can immerse yourself in a totally different world with
Would
different
that be like
play
Symphony of the
mechanics.
Night with its RPG elements and also killing Dracula?
But it doesn't have turn-based combat,
No, but it's
and I
got
really gotta have turn-based combat for all the times I gotta go pee.
yeah, we got that.
Yeah, Final Fantasy doesn't really have any of that, but you know what Final Fantasy does have is some beautiful side-scrolling action, especially the older games. Now, you said you never played anything that predated Symphony of the Night, is that correct?
Like I said, except for Castlevania on the Game Boy. So that is an ugly fucking game. And then
Yeah.
what's actually even uglier though, I'm gonna continue the hate train for Castlevania 64
I'm s-
because almost no games
I'm sorry,
from.
man, but you are breaking up like absolute crazy. Hold on.
You still there? Hello.
I'm gonna see if I can fix this. Yeah. You're just breaking up like insanity right now.
All right. Oh, I'm still recording everything, so we've got all my audio.
That's cool, and I've got all mine, but you'll be able to cut it down on both of our ends. Maybe we can like sync clap again in the middle here, and then just like
As
when
long
get
as you
to-
don't like actually adjust yours, it should be fine.
Yeah, I'm not gonna adjust mine. I'm feeling you now. I'm hearing you a lot better now.
There you
so
go.
That's good.
Yeah, so we're going to
Anyhow,
continue the hate train for Castlevania 64. Because Castlevania 64 looks like complete and utter dried horse crap. Because everything from the era, with very few exceptions, has aged incredibly poorly. And then I mentioned, I didn't have the memory card, I couldn't save. And so there were points where I'd be roughly an hour into the game. And because it was an early 3D platformer, the jumps were absolute bullcrap, and so I would miss time a single jump, and what do you know? I have to restart the entire game from the title screen on.
Jesus.
Yeah. Another fun fact: whips. You know how the whip in the side-scrolling games is really cool because you have kind of like that wind up, and then it kind of does that drop. It does that drop motion with its hitbox where you can where like everything below it will kind of hit, and it'll do that damage on stuff on the tip, and it's just this really nice kind of ranged weapon. Not
Yeah, I
ranged weapon,
think
but like it's got
I
some
know
nice
what you're
reach to it.
talking
A whip in 3D is a really shitty weapon
Yeah, absolutely.
because you take the wind up and then you do the whip, but because you've got a whole like extra dimension there, it's just kind of this little pinprick just flailing around in the nothing, and it's not like Zelda where you had the Z targeting. You just kind of have to really hope that your pile of polygons lines up with the enemy pile of polygons, and if you can take the time to hit the whip and then maybe you'll hit the bad guy.
Well, fuck all that. I mean, that's just bullshit right there when it comes down to the brass tacks of it. When you have so many other games that did things way better than that beforehand, it's like the editors just sat down and all the game programmers and said, so we're going to try making this game from fucking blank slate because we're just college kids that got right out, and we're going to see what we can do from the ground up. So let's do it with a great franchise. And some guy said, oh yeah, you know what, here's some money. Maybe you can make a good game for this shit. And then 5 years later, they're like, shit, I don't know if what we've got here is any good. The guy's like, well, we got to release it anyway. Castlevania 64, ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
Actually, let me double check to see who was the development team on that. Konami
God.
Computer and Entertainment Kobe.
Huh.
Producers.
Well, they usually make decent games. At least Konami.
Looks like Etsunobu Ibizu was the producer. So let's see what else he did. The person, additional citations, references. His work includes. He worked on the Goemon series.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
Oh, we're gonna teach you about that later. He did Wario Land,
God.
the Snake or the Shake Dimension. Oh, Kirby's Epic Yarn and Kirby's Woolly World.
Yeah, no fucking kidding. Well,
So this was his only
those-
Castlevania title, and god damn does it show. However,
No,
Castlevania 64 has arguably the coolest non-boss Castlevania enemy ever, and that's a skeleton on a motorcycle.
well, I mean, I'll give you that. That was pretty good. Well, wait a minute. You never even played fucking Super Castlevania 4, though.
Like, does it have a skeleton on a motorcycle?
No, but it has some
Okay.
badass shit.
Okay then.
All right, so let me run you through the bosses that I got in the back.
No,
of
I
my
said
mind right here.
non-boss.
So from the very beginning of the game.
Like he's the coolest,
Not bass,
the coolest
non-boss.
non-boss character.
My bad. I mean, we got bats. You know what? Come to think of it, one of my favorite enemies from the Super Castlevania 4 were these opera dancers. They were dressed up in these fine clothing and stuff, and they were ghosts. And there was an area you were going through, and they'd just apparate out of nowhere and start dancing at you. And if you got hit by them, they'd fuck you up, and they'd be dancing very quickly, and it would be very difficult to avoid them. And then when you got to the end of the stage, the boss was a giant badass group of dancers, and they just whooped your ass. That was cool. I mean, you don't usually see stuff like that. Or a giant. There was a giant coffin that would chase after you and lock you in it. That was pretty nifty. Fucking tables and chairs. Yeah, I'm talking like animated tables and chairs would come after you and try to kick your ass. That was kind of fucking shitty.
Oh, we've got that.
Floating books.
Yeah, that shows up in Symphony of the Night, and I want to say Portrait of Ruin?
Yeah, they kind of ripped that off of the Super Castlevania 4. But, I mean, you can't really say ripped off, because, I mean,
right,
it's
the same series. I think
series,
they just went ahead and reused some of the assets for that.
Oh, I'm sure they did, and you can't blame them. It's still a solid game and good art direction when it came down to it. I'm trying to think of, like, other enemies that stick out in my mind. But most of the stuff in Super Castlevania 4 wasn't the enemies that I was worried about. It was more about, like, the trip falls and the dead falls and the pits and everything like that would kill you in one hit. Fuck that. Fuck all that. There's this one stage in there where you go down to the dungeon of the castle and all it is just fucking spikes around you and everything. And it's a one-hit kill. Spike. Everything's a spike. You gotta get through that. I'd rather go chop my dong off. Thank you very much.
It looks like the skeletons on motorcycles only appear in these 64 Castlevania games. And there were two, because there's Castlevania 64 and Castlevania Legacy of Darkness. So I'm guessing they just reused the assets again.
Probably, but I mean that is a really cool concept when you think about it. I mean when you get fucking Nicolas Cage in your game, what you gonna do, right?
Wait, how do we get to Nicolas Cage?
Think about it. Hold on, you'll get it. Nicolas Cage, skeletons riding motorcycles. Think about it.
Oh, because he's Ghost Rider.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
The table and chairs, their proper name is the Poltergeist, and they are in Haunted Castle, Super Castlevania 4, Symphony of the Night, Circle of the Moon, and Dawn of Sorrow.
Well, there we go. That answers our goddamn question right there.
And
not even a question, just posing a fact.
And
not even a fact. It was just a thing.
My favorite thing about them is that if you beat them in Symphony of the Night, then they have a chance to randomly drop, I think the item is called just a complete breakfast.
Did they? Oh, that's great. I didn't know that.
And that heals a pretty nice chunk of your health.
Nice. I mean, that game was sick. When it comes down to it, nothing really beats going out and having some cores and hanging out in your truck, but a good close second is some good Super Castlevania and some good old Symphony of the Night.
All right, so favorite Castlevania game.
Fucking weirdo.
Favorite Castlevania game.
What?
What is your favorite
Super Castlevania 4, very easily.
Okay.
Very simply put. I mean, that game was my childhood. That Super Metroid and a couple other good Super Nintendo games kept me alive and grinning when I was a little child. And, I mean, the ambiance, the atmosphere that the game puts out really sucks you in if you're paying attention and you enjoy the music a lot because it's got a great score. And all the levels were thematic and very different from each other. Because I remember you start the game off and you see this big-ass map right after you beat the first course, and you're like, that's a pretty big map. I'm pretty excited to see what this entire thing ends up being like. And you get to the castle like, ooh, I get to fight Dracula. And then you go in the castle, and it's another big-ass map, and it's like, oh, wow, when does this shit end? And then you get through the castle, and it's like, all right, cool, now I get to fight Dracula. And nope, there's a giant precipice tower sticking off the castle. You gotta go up. And I was like, oh, great, fucking more shit. But it is a long game. It is hard as balls. You got to be right on it. I mean, there's things that you jump on, and if you don't immediately jump off of them, you just immediately die. Like, it's insane. And you've got to progress through them. Like, it does not pull any goddamn punches, and it does that beautiful thing where it shows you how to, like, do something before you get in the thick of it. So, like, you know, you'll see a goddamn monster or something like that and whoop its ass in regular conditions where you feel all safe. And the next thing you know, you go into the next map, and it throws a curveball at you because no longer are the environments around you safe. Now the environments are treacherous. Plus, you gotta whoop this thing's ass. You know, it's a very similar aesthetic to Mega Man. You know how Mega Man used to teach you like that and shit?
Yeah, have you seen Ego Raptor's, I think call it sequelitis, where actually
Sequelitis.
where he does the breakdown?
Yes, I have.
He also did a
Mega
sequelitis
Man
on
X.
Castlevania.
Yes, he did. And it was not as good, in my opinion, but it was decent. I did like the Mega Man X one a lot. That was cool. Because, I mean, he was right. Mega Man X did do that brilliant teaching you by trial and error thing. And see, Castlevania was a little less forgiving about it though, because you could get your ass whooped very quickly, and it would suck, especially like later on in the game. And but anyhow, I'm getting off on a tangent here. Good game, solid overall. Pain in the ass, especially when it starts amping up difficulty about halfway through. But you are rewarded with way cooler events. Like when you first get into the castle, I was like, "Ooh, this is spooky." It's playing some like old classical sort of music as you walk through this great big hall with all these big ass statues and all this shit, and it's like, all right, cool. Maybe I'm gonna fight a little lame ass boss at the end of this. Nope. You go up a staircase. This crazy ass fucking organ music starts playing. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And the chandeliers that were above you are now enormous, and you gotta jump across them while they're swinging in midair. And if you fall off of them, you're dead.
Oh, is that
And that was crazy.
Did they, like you said, they got bigger? Is that the Super FX chip?
No, it had nothing to do with anything like that. What it was like, all right, you know, when you see a chandelier, it's like, that's pretty. Nah, I ain't talking about like a little pretty chandelier. I'm talking like 50 times the size of you chandelier swinging around on the ceiling that you gotta jump across.
Got it.
That was ballsy. It was fucking hard. And then you gotta add in like whipping physics to be able to jump across, because in that game, you use your whip to attach these little bat chain like rings, and that's how you swing across gaps and shit. And it's just, you combine that physics with the physics of jumping on the chandelier, and it just gets ballsy.
Yeah, I'll have to try that. I know you mentioned that you grew up with that. For me, I actually didn't come to Castlevania until probably, I think I was old enough to drive by the time I picked up my first Castlevania game.
Well, shit, we'll have to hang out. We'll play the old Super Nintendo Castlevania sometime, because let me tell you, it's a gas.
Oh, no, it looks like it, because I know the ones that they did for the Game Boy, or the Game Boy Advance, which were my real introduction, like Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, those ones are basically a combination of like the earlier ones, and then built upon more of the Symphony of the Night RPG formula. And
Yeah.
I played through most of those, and I know I'm probably going to get an endless amount of shit for this. If we ever get any listeners, my favorite Castlevania, actually, I think is Portrait of Ruin.
Yeah, you're gonna get some shit for that.
I'm going to
but,
get
I mean,
so much shit for that.
At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You just play what you want to play. I mean, shit. I like that new Castlevania that they made for the 360 some time ago. That was okay.
Oh, Lords of Shadow?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, it was a good attempt at an actual 3D Castlevania. I mean, you know, better than Castlevania 64, you know.
I will, however, I will defend my favorite being Portrait of Ruin.
All right, do it.
I'm gonna go down with the ship. So by the time I picked up Portrait of Ruin, I had already played the Game Boy Advance games. I had already played a bit of the original Game Boy game, and so I played about 4 or 5 Castlevania games leading up into this one. Probably like 4 Castlevania games leading up until this one, and none of them were bad, but it definitely started to feel a little samey. Because, as much as...
Yeah, of course. I mean, most of those Game Boy game Castlevanias were very samey.
And then you have Portrait of Ruin comes along, and then, you have some really cool plot elements by, we're shaking it up. This isn't just another Belmont. This is some other asshole, and, he's very much aware that he's just another asshole, and that's, factors into his plot line. You have the character swapping mechanic with the... I'm looking up their names. I think it was Charlotte and... where is it? Anyway, you swap between 2 characters, which made the combat feel really fresh. You had a huge arsenal of weapons, because in a lot of them, it's sometimes like just the whip, or I'm playing through Symphony of the Night, and it's mostly just different swords, which are functionally fine. But then you look at Portrait of Ruin, and it had a massive fucking arsenal. You had your whips, you had short swords, you had knives, you had like the giant fucking claymore swords. Those were badass. You got like this really cool seeker whip when wherever you hit it, you could actually watch the chain like lash out and hit like home in on whatever was closest to you, and it would attack like that. And then you got to fight Simon fucking Belmont to unlock the vampire killer whip.
Huh. Well, I didn't know that. That kind of sounds cool.
Here we go. The two main characters were Jonathan Morris and Charlotte Owlin. Owlin?
Owlin.
And then so we have some fresh characters. We have some fresh weapons. And then Portrait of Ruin also did the Super Mario 64 thing where you would jump in paintings and that would kind of take you to different environments. And so rather than just doing Dracula's castle for whichever time again, you know, you had these really cool levels like a haunted carnival or like the pyramids, and it just added some life to the formula that was desperately needed.
Huh. Well, yeah, I mean, I can agree with that to an extent, but when you go back and play some of the older games, it does get a little samey, but the mechanics that they increased in some of the older games, especially, I'm just going to keep going back, Super Castlevania 4, like, taking the original format and just in bettering the formula by making, like, whip physics even more fun and all that shit, that's what made the game for me. It wasn't so much, like, throwing a wrench in it and then trying it from a different perspective. It was more or less taking the same thing and polishing it until it was down to a fine ass nickel, you know what I mean?
No, I totally get that.
That was fucking cool, but I could see where you're coming from too, because like, you know, getting on the different side of the story, everybody loves to empathize with the villain a little bit in a way. That shit's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go down with the Castle 60 or with the Portrait of Ruin ship. However, caveat here, I think the biggest thing that this game gets shit for is that they switched the art style. So you left from this kind of like classically gothic, very detailed. I'm pretty sure I think they're like painted. They look like these gorgeous paintings, art style that you see in stuff like Symphony of the Night, and they switched to a more kind of mainstream anime style.
Yeah, that one. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. That was not a bad game.
No, so like, and the thing is, the art style though, that has absolutely zero to do with the actual gameplay. That's entirely just the box art. And I think there were some like portraits for the cutscenes, but the minute-to-minute gameplay, the newer art style, was not relevant. I do prefer the original Symphony of the Night, like Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance art, the classical style art. So it does take kind of a ding. At the time, I didn't mind it so much because I was way more into anime and manga back at the time, because I played this thing back in 2007. So I was a little bit more forgiving about that, and now that I'm a bit older, I do kind of miss the original art style. But if you can get past that, the actual minute-to-minute gameplay is awesome. And then the final boss, you know how the final boss is usually Dracula?
Yeah.
In this game, it's because you're playing two tag team characters, Dracula tag teams with Death for a 2-on-2 final fight.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I always liked the death fights. Death fights were really cool. They've been an integral part to the Castlevania series, and I like them even more than the Dracula fights, to be honest, because Dracula fights are a little bit predictable, except for in, like, Symphony of the Night. Those get fucking crazy. But in the old ones, they're a little bit more predictable, and, hit the fucking head.
Yeah, you jump, you hit him in the head. Actually, Symphony of the Night starts out with the Dracula fight, where you start playing as one of the Belmonts, and the tutorial is the Dracula fight from the previous game. Was that Super Castlevania 4?
Yes, it is. And it was really cool, but they just upped the graphics a little bit and gave it a little bit more backstory. But it is the same room, and it is the same sort of fight, but it is nowhere near as it's actually far more badass than the original one, because the original one, he doesn't turn into that
giant monster.
No. What he does end up doing is, like, you start whipping his ass in the head over and over and over, and he goes from, like, this handsome-headed bastard to this really weird, gross-looking headed bastard. and it gets 2 times faster, and the badass reprise music from the beginning of the game starts playing. So like when you start the game off, you go into the castle, this like crazy organ music starts playing that's all like deep and woeful, and then builds up into like this kind of like fast-paced bit that comes back at the end, and it's so cool to like have that full chain reaction of music going on. It's a very, they know how to do that. It was cool.
God, I saw that intro cutscene for Symphony of the Night probably about 4 times in a row because I had a little bit of issue. I downloaded it through, it's not Virtual Console on the PS3, but the PlayStation Network, whatever the PlayStation download service is. My girlfriend got a PS3, and so I downloaded it for that, and it took me a few tries to figure out exactly how to create the emulated memory card.
Oh yeah, that is a little bit of a pain in the rear, isn't it?
Right, because I was used to Nintendo stuff where everything with the Virtual Console has like built-in autosaves and all these extra features, whereas Sony just makes you straight up emulate. Just makes you straight up emulate the memory cards. You've got to set that up manually.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but getting back to Death versus Dracula, I always thought it was strange that Death worked for Dracula, because I figured that Death itself would outrank the vampire.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of, I could understand that, but I would think so too. But at the same rate, I don't know. That's sketchy material that I can't really get into. That's just opinions.
My ex kind of had an idea about this, in that Dracula is immortal, and he has meaning that he has conquered death.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense when you think about it. Yeah.
Either that, or it's just some random demon cosplaying as death.
Nah, I like to think that. It's just turns out fucking take off the helmet and it's just Aaron Paul. It's like, God damn it, Aaron Paul, what are you doing?
He's not the actual Grim Reaper. He's just some like kind of mid-level demon who really digs the skull and scythe aesthetic.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like he is to the other demons what the creepy what the goth kid wannabes are to us. So even the demons think it's enough to just be a demon, and they're all laughing at this guy because he thinks he's death. Whatever, dude. What the fuck ever. I'm sure all the other demons laugh at him and call him a dork.
Then he turns around and he walks away and he's actually got a tail poking out because he's a furry too.
They're always furries. We love you, furries. You do, you furries.
No. Kill yourself.
No furries. We love you. This is a safe place for you, furries.
Go die.
You can make it weird here all you want. Like if we can have a dedicated furry fandom, then at least that's a fandom. So you know what? If we're gonna pander to someone, may as well be the cuddly animal people.
You want to hear a funny story?
You're gonna tell it either way, aren't you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I always do that. I always ask, but I tell it anyways. All right. So my girlfriend, we used to be poor. She used to live down in Athens, Ohio, and she used to live with her boyfriend. Now, she didn't have much money, and she didn't have a stable job, so the only way she could make money to eat was to draw and then sell her drawings online. And she found out that the people who bought most and threw money out the most were the furries, because they wanted all these little personas and shit. So she would draw furry personas and then sell them to the people who asked for them. And she would make enough money to go down to the corner store and buy day-old donuts and shit so she could live.
You know what? There's no shame in that.
There's absolutely none. I'm actually very proud of her for being able to sell her work.
That is finding your niche. That is applying a skill. That's capitalism, motherfuckers. So take that, conservatives.
Yes, and it was very cool. And actually, in one of my last gaming videos, like, there's this game called Battlefield Hardline, and when you do well in the game, it gives you these little commendation, like, badges and shit. And they all say random things, and they all pertain to what you just did. So I asked her if she could, make satirical versions of them. So she drew up some ones, like, instead of them, like, applauding you for doing something good, they more or less just have a middle finger on them and say, like, royally fucked, and have a little crown around the middle finger. Or, like, one that I got all the time for tasing people all the time. I had her make one called the Shocker, and it has, like, the little Shocker hand signal on it and shit. She's really good. It's pretty cool.
Oh, I can dig it. I
Yeah.
actually had a friend. She does some art stuff too. She was a bit down and out, and she had a friend who she had the ball jointed dolls from the Japanese ball jointed dolls, the creepy as fuck ones.
Yeah, I don't think I know what you're talking about, but I can imagine.
Let me. We have the Skype messenger. I'll just like bring up a picture and send it to you as I'm telling you the story. So
Sweet.
this girl really liked her dolls, and she had a boy and a girl doll, and I guess she really wanted them to be like a proper couple, and so she commissioned my friend to make anatomically correct bits for these dolls. And she likes to tell that
Anatomically
story of
correct.
uh that is freaking like this is her like lowest point what she did to make money.
Well, fucking good for her.
Like I
I'm
do.
impressed. Like anytime somebody can do something that they enjoy, like art form, or like I'm gonna get serious and drop the stupid ass accent for a second. Anybody, sorry, anybody out there who can take something that they sincerely enjoy and make money off of it, whilst at the same time getting hate from people and still continue doing it, I have nothing but the utmost respect for, because it takes balls to be creative anymore, especially on the internet where everybody seems to tear into each other. But I have been noticing this greater trend of people shifting towards being kind to each other on the internet, especially like look at the Caitlyn Jenner fiasco. Everybody really supported Caitlyn Jenner when she decided she was going to become Caitlyn Jenner. And I see that a lot now too on YouTube. Like, look at PewDiePie, for instance. He started getting a lot of shit for like acting all fake, and then he admitted he was, and then people supported him for admitting that he was like trying, just like being fake and shitty. And now he's like self-aware. Like, when somebody can be doing something for such a long time, change their mind, and then the internet backs them up on it, it's phenomenal. It's great to see people loving each other on the web. And even though I tend to make fun of people, it's all in jest. I don't really mean half of what I say. People out there, much love and respect.
I am right there with you, and I know a lot of people tend to have they tend to be a very different person when they're online, and I don't think I am. Where I just for me, I'll occasionally troll people, but usually I'd much rather be supportive because to me I don't enjoy being like an actual asshole.
Yeah, like I get what you mean, and I do. It's cool to see that. Most of the time, though, I spend some time on like seedy websites where people are just the whole point is being an asshole to each other, and it's fun because I get it out there, and then like everywhere else, I'm not. So it's cool. I mean, there's a place and a time for being an asshole on the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I've been seeing a lot of it more because I think I have a problem, like an actual like not quite addiction but compulsion level problem where ever since the election I've been engaging with conservatives on social media and it just never ends well and I'm trying to cut myself off from that.
Smart.
Yeah, no, like just some of like you want to talk crazy assholes, go hang out in the Fox News comment section.
Oh, good lord.
There's so much why oh you are an idiot.
Oh no.
Uh
I mean, but at the same time, those people are entitled to their opinions, and they're just living the life that they've been taught to live or that they choose to live. And I mean, if you can choose that and enjoy it, good for you. But at the same time, I don't agree with it.
yeah.
I can respect that, but I don't agree with it.
No, well, a part of me, because I spent so much, because I did like uh, media analysis stuff in grad school. I kind of want to like I'm seeing patterns. I kind of want to start quantifying this stuff and actually like turn it into a full on research project. And then and I'm gonna call it the foxhole.
Makes it your thesis right there.
That's my thesis right there.
That sounds like a pretty good thesis, actually. I'd read the fuck out of
I don't think it would fly in academia because I really try to make a point to not go Ahab when I'm doing school projects. I've done that once or twice, and it's always bitten me in the ass because then I'll just get off topic and I'll just start soapboxing and then I have to delete half my paper.
Yeah, you got to be careful about that. But if you can, like, soapbox, then delete it, then soapbox and delete it, and still come out with a decent ass paper, that's cool.
I don't know. Maybe we could just make that a podcast, just like weekly breakdowns of like different comment section analyses. Some nerds would listen to that.
That actually does sound like a good idea. I just don't know how much time I want to
Yeah,
dedicate to it. I mean, maybe in the summer when I have
maybe
more.
watch. Someone's gonna steal this idea from us.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know. I turn around and every time I have a good idea, I dick slap somebody who already took it. Like fucking, I was just watching Video Game Dunk Tard on YouTube, one of my favorite fucking YouTubers, Video Game Donkey, and he came out with a video just today of Bloodborne, and I was like, that's a cool game. And he used a song from what was the game? Super Contra 3.
Uh-huh.
A song that I thought about using in one of my videos too. And I was like, God fucking bless my dick hole. Seriously? Every time I think I got something cool, somebody else has already done it. Every time. But you know what? Nobody else can do what I can do because nobody's got the imprint of my voice and my personality in it. Everybody else can take the similar like vein, but they can't do it the way I do it, and I can't do it the way anybody else does it, if that makes sense.
That is, of course, until the Black Mirror technology comes along and they can like synthesize our personalities based on our web episodes.
Wait until you see the White Xmas fucking episode, dude. You're gonna lose your goddamn mind. That shit's just so good.
No, I've seen the whole thing like twice.
Oh, you've seen the John Hamm episode?
Oh yeah, I've seen all of Black Mirror except for the most recent season at least 3 times.
Oh, okay.
That's my all-time. It might be my all-time favorite show is Black Mirror, and I wouldn't mind doing more Black Mirror episodes because I feel like those are really good fodder for episodes because there's a lot to dissect and and you can really engage and you can use really smart sounding words and you can pretend like you're a smart person because you're talking about a smart show. As opposed to stuff like Saga the Phoenix, which was our first episode, where it's just like, yeah, so that was fucking weird. No, with Black Mirror, you can actually, there's so much to break down that I love digging into those. So maybe we'll hit up season 3 sometime because we've done seasons 1, season 2, and the Christmas episode. So we need to pick up.
There's a great episode on season 3 called I believe it's Game Test or something like that.
I thought that one was shitty.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was
season 3. Season 3. It was twice the normal amount of Black Mirror episodes per season, but there were still only 3 really good episodes worth of content in those 6 episodes.
What did you think were some of the best ones?
San Junipero was really good.
Yeah,
but it didn't quite feel Black Mirror. It didn't quite feel Black Mirror in that it had a happy ending.
Yeah, right? I mean, how often does that shit happen? Usually it leaves you guessing, like, do I like this ending or not? One of my favorite, actually, you know what? If we're going to talk about Black Mirror, I'm going to go talk about Twilight Zone for a second.
I fucking love Twilight Zone.
Yeah, they're very similar shows, just one's a little bit more recent.
One's newer, so they have like an actual budget and they don't have the constraints of being on public television the same way Twilight Zone is, so they can make some really dark shit.
And they get a lot of technological sort of stuff too, because back then they could only speculate as to what was going to happen. Now it's happening. So you get that. But back in Twilight Zone, they had some great episodes. One of my favorite was William Shatner episode where they stop off in what's supposed to be a little town in Ohio, him and his girlfriend or whatever, and they sit at this table, and the table like spits out fortunes. It has this little thing that you can twist, and it tells you a fortune or whatever, and it starts telling them like really dark, ominous stuff, and you can't tell whether or not it's manipulating them to stay there or trying to get them to like fear for their lives because something terrible is going to happen.
Right, because a lot of people forget that Shatner did more than just the Something on the Plane or Something on the Wing episode.
Yeah, which was a great episode, but this one was
on the Wing.
What was this one called?
So my favorite Twilight Zone story back in high school, to show you how much of a nerd I was. I may have told the story, I'm not sure. But so back in the day, Sci-Fi Channel used to run a Twilight Zone marathon every 4th of July weekend, like Friday to Monday, every episode of Twilight Zone on a loop. And it was awesome. You still there? You think you cut out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm listening.
And it was awesome. And so, my girlfriend invited me over. We were down in her basement, and, she wants to start making out. And so, I'm sure you've done the thing where you, like, turn on, like, some sort of noise so that way, like, parents don't expect, like, they're too quiet down there. but it just
Yes,
happened
I
to
do
already
that
be on
now.
Sci-Fi Channel. And they're like, up next, it's the one with the guy who breaks his glasses. I'm blanking on the name of that episode right now, but you know the one where like he wants to read and then he breaks his glasses after the apocalypse, after there was time.
I have not seen that episode.
That
No.
is like, and I told her like, no, we have to stop. I have to watch this episode. She goes, what? Like, no, you don't understand. This is like
Yeah.
one of the most famous episodes. I've never actually seen this one. I've heard of it, but I've never actually seen it. We can kiss later. Twilight Zone now, like maybe during the commercials. But we have to stop when the episode comes back.
Oh, I'm sure she took well of that.
Oh, absolutely. No, she was bitter at me about that for like 2 weeks.
Good, as it should have been, because obviously it didn't work out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Fuck it.
I
the one
regret
that
nothing.
I'm talking about.
I regret
Yeah,
nothing.
there you
Time
go.
Enough at Last is the name of the episode. Yeah, so to give you an idea of just how much of a fucking dork I was, even when I had girlfriends, I was just like, no, Twilight Zone.
It was a great show. I mean, you can't go wrong. And when you find that girl that goes, hell yeah.
Oh yeah, Twilight Zone.
My girlfriend and I just sat down and watched Cowboy Bebop for the first time the other night because she'd never seen it. She was like, fuck yeah. The show's great. But the Twilight Zone episode I'm talking about is called The Nick of Time. And they sit down at this fortune teller machine at a table, and it tells you yes or no to questions. So William Shatner's character asks if he's going to get promotion at work, and it tells him it's been decided in your favor. So he calls in and finds out that he did indeed get the promotion. So it starts going downhill from that, and gets scarier and scarier. Like makes you question your own logic. So that was cool. And then there was another episode where this guy would dictate into this little recording machine because he was an author, but the things he dictated would become true. And if he burned the reel that he dictated it onto, it would disappear. Like, he could dictate people into the thing and they would come to life. And you figure out that his wife was a dictation, and he ends up cheating on his wife by dictating a new woman.
Damn.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. That one was good too.
I've not seen all of Twilight Zone. I have, because it's a total of
Neither
156
have I.
episodes, and
There's
I
a
think for a
lot of
while they were
episodes.
on Netflix, and I didn't get through all 156 episodes.
Well, now the question is, did you get to the one that they made in like 1990 or whatever, the one in early 2000 where it was like the gated community?
Oh, I remember that one.
if-
And then they turned
if
problem
the
children
kids
into
were-
mulch and plant trees on them. Yeah, that's the one episode everybody remembers.
That's one of the best ones, man.
I-
Oh shit!
I only remember 2 episodes of that show, and it was the one where they turned the kids into mulch, and then there's the other one where the AI comes to life and starts I think it's like a VR AI, and this dude starts cheating on his wife to bang this woman, and then the big twist at the end was you find out the wife's actually been cheating on him with the sexy AI lady the whole time.
Bam! I had not seen that one either.
There are only 6 episodes of that revival though, weren't there? Was that a really fucking short run?
I don't know. I have no idea. But like that came out the same time X-Files and shit was popular and whatever, and One Tree Hill and fucking Seventh Heaven and all that other garbage that they had on television.
Oh god, my mom loved Seventh Heaven.
Oh my god, you poor
Do you
thing.
think any of the Seventh Heaven kids played Castlevania?
Probably not. Probably not.
Oh fuck no!
Let's
The
be-
Twilight Zone reboot with Cecil the Entertainment and only ran 1 season. That season had 43 episodes.
Holy dick balls,
Right?
That's a lot of episodes. Obviously, it can't have been that good because I've only seen one, and it's the mulch episode. Huh. But, I mean, there's so many other crappy Can we talk about crappy television shows from the late 90s, early 2000s for a second?
Have I stopped you from talking about anything so far?
No, that's
Can we
true.
even call this a
Oh, man.
Castlevania episode anymore? What the fuck can we call this episode?
We can call it Mishmash.
All right. I don't know. We call it the junk
Man,
drawer.
There were so many bad television shows for a while there. I mean, talk about like the old soap operas and stuff. They're not even bad. They're just corny as fuck. Like my mom watches General Hospital on the Reg, and that show is just goofy. And oh my god, the fact that people can go from being kids to adults in like a day's time cracks me the fuck up every time.
My grandma watches soap operas, so occasionally I'll come over during the day to help them out, and like I'll just catch parts of episodes of random shows.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, like soap operas were a big thing when they were younger. Now you got like sitcoms and shit, which were what we grew up on, and not even now they don't even have sitcoms anymore. They're just gross. I don't know what the fuck they play for people are when like I don't know what they play anymore, but I do miss like Family Matters or shit. Let's see here, Prince Bel Air.
Yeah, Family Matters got weird by the end though.
Yeah, they did. The old episodes were good though.
Like
What were some other good ones?
there's like, oh my god, I still remember the Halloween episode with the haunted puppet.
Oh yeah, that was fucking odd. I mean, it stopped being about family and started being more about Steve Urkel's weird ass fucking inventions.
Which
And
I was
that's when it
about
started going
like
downhill.
six. I was like
But
6
you
or
had all
7 when
kinds of
that was
other good
going on,
shows
so that
back
was
then,
the right
too.
age for me because I was just like, oh hey, there's this random guy, and he built a machine that turns him into an awesomer version of himself. Awesome.
Yeah, really, right? I mean, what's the practical application in that? Nothing.
No, like literally everything, and it's like I can jump in a machine and become a sexier version of myself. Awesome.
And then that's it.
You know what? I'd even be
What was
fine
the,
if I
the
jumped into a
other
machine that
shows,
turned
too?
me into Jaleel White. Like he's a good
I'm
look.
fine
He's a
with
good
that,
looking
too.
dude. Like if you've seen Jaleel White now, he looks like he will wreck your shit backwards.
Yeah, that's just about right. Man, you know, like, come to think of it, I don't mean to be like racially charged or anything like that or rude.
All right, nothing
All
good
the
comes after that,
African-American
but I'm gonna let you
comedies
keep going
were
anyway.
Way all the African American comedies were way better than any other thing on television in the late '90s and early '90s. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
No, I'm with you on that one. What the fuck did white folks had? We had Full House, and Full House is awful.
Full House, garbage, step by step. I don't want to take it day by day. Fuck that show. Come on. Seriously, we had, but maybe the show that everybody seems to have liked when I was a kid was Boy Meets World. I didn't even like that.
I liked Boy Meets World. Oh, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I liked Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
You know, I can't even disagree with you on that. That show was good. Salem was funny.
Actually, the effects on Salem though do not hold up at all. Because you know, there's the shots where they actually have a cat like running around, but then the shots where he's actually talking, that puppet looks pants-shittingly terrifying now.
Oh yeah, it's so bad, but it doesn't matter because it's part of the nostalgia of it. I don't know if you remember this or not, but there was this great access show that they had on Channel 13 when I was a kid. I must have been about 8 or 7 because it was before we moved. It was called The Son of Ghoul.
Oh my
And it
god,
was
yes.
this- yeah, it was this dude out of Akron doing Gallardi fucking comedy, and it was so choice. Guy would have people on to throw bowling balls into old televisions and then hang out with this little midget dude that he called Fidget. Oh, God.
No, I met him.
The show is so good. You did?
I met him. I went to. I actually went to Cinema Wasteland a couple years ago with El Goro, and yeah, I got to hang out with the Son of Ghoul.
That's fucking boss. I bet he was cool as hell.
My favorite episode, I think it's the one because things kind of blend together from that time period. But the one episode that really stood out to me was the one where Godzilla fought the pollution monster.
Yeah, I don't think I remember that one.
And that was actually my introduction to old school Godzilla too. So that was just like the huge thing for me. And I'm just like, what? It's
Nice.
Godzilla, but like it's like a monster, but like when he does the fire breath, it makes a burping sound. What?
Yep.
What? I was probably like 7 when this was going on, so this was mind blowing to the 7-year-old. And I found him, and he had a bunch of his old DVDs, and they were very clearly just like burned from his computer. Like just he went down to Office Max, he bought a stack of blank CDs and just wrote the title in Sharpie on them. And I got that DVD of that episode, and I got him to sign it.
Nice. That's cool. I'm glad you know that shit too. That show is fantastic.
That is the only public access show I can remember watching at all.
Same. I mean, honestly, when I look back, other than like maybe reading Rainbow and fucking Between the Lions and stuff like that, because I liked that shit when I was a kid. but-
Reading? Oh, okay, no. All right, so Reading
Cyber
Rainbow's
Chase,
still
Zoom.
awesome.
Oh my god,
Re-
so many old TV shows.
Well, I know stuff like Cyber Chase. That was what my siblings watched.
Oh, okay. So you were a bit older.
Right.
Than
Well, like I forget how old are you again?
I am 23.
Sure thing, because I'm 27. So as an adult, 4 years is not a big difference. But in terms of what you watched as a kid, 4 or 5 years is a
Huge.
fucking eternity.
Huge difference. So you probably watch a lot of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original Power Rangers. I even liked
Yeah.
VR Troopers for the whole like 12 episodes that lasted. The American Masked Rider when they tried to port Kamen Rider over.
Did you ever watch like The Kids in the Hall and shit like that?
I don't remember Kids in the Hall.
Kids in the Hall was this Canadian show. I don't think it was so much public access. I don't know. It was out of Canada, and it was on HBO and CBC television.
Oh, I didn't have HBO.
But it was a comedy. No, we didn't either. But it was a comedy show, and my brother must have had a VHS or something like that. It ran from 88 to 94, and it was sketch comedy. Like, big, good stuff back then. And now a lot of the guys who are older are writers for shit. But that was a good one. It reminded me most of, did you watch, obviously you watched Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh, hell yeah. Like, not only did I watch Whose
Yeah.
Line, but I've watched most of the Drew Carey Show.
Dude, the Drew Carey Show is so boss. Very underrated show.
It is. I really need to...
Phenomenal.
It's not streaming anywhere. I need to track down some DVDs of the Drew Carey Show.
Bruh, I could only find it in torrent. I can't even find it on like fucking DVD anywhere.
All right, let's-
And the first season is the only one worth having.
I'm going to go to Amazon.com right now and do a price
So am I.
check on... the Drew Carey Show. Because it was weird and it was experimental, and even though there are other like quirky comedies going on at the time, like this was the only one where it felt like the main characters were actually like kind of fucked up.
Yeah, season 1, there it is, $10. What?
What?
That's so cheap.
Yeah, Drew Carey Show. Oh my god, it is on Prime, and there's only 8 left in stock, down from $40. God damn it. Fuck, I'm trying to save
Part
money,
of me
but
really just wants to get that right now.
fuck
Yeah,
no,
fuck
I
it,
might
I'm buying
have
it.
to do that. I'm gonna do it right now. Am I logged in?
I think I have enough. I think I have enough points on my Amazon card to get it for free.
I'm gonna have buyer's remorse about this about them like 2 minutes after it happens.
Oh, shut up! It's the Drew Carey Show. You'll be just fucking fine.
Well, I gotta get new brakes on my car soon enough. But then again, I guess I've been doing I've been doing more freelance and shit. So I'm gonna do it. There's only 5 left in stock.
There you go. Yeah, because I just bought one.
Fuck, now there's only 4 left. Do we just
Alright,
are we
good.
gonna have to do like the Drew Carey? Are we gonna have to do a Drew Carey
Yeah.
Show episode? Because I'm down for that shit.
There was a run on Drew Carey Show.
I'm gonna buy it right now. Add to cart.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you know what?
no, 'cause
we
they got
definitely
into
do. I
weird-
wonder if we can get Ivy to get behind us and like get a copy as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Ivy can find some completely legitimate means of accessing this show.
You're breaking up really bad now. Hold on.
There we go. I did it. Bought the Drew Carey Show, season 1. How many seasons did this show run?
So I guess we're getting the Drew Carey Show then.
I guess we're going to do a Drew Carey episode. Awesome. Well, I know you had you had issues. Issues like
Sorry, man.
you're breaking
like
up. Your
crazy.
internet's going out. Hello?
There we go. Now I can hear you a little better. Ah, goodness.
Hello?
Well, you know what? We got a pretty good set there, and we started losing focus when we went to the Drew Carey Show. So it is what.
Oh,
it
there
is.
you go.
Can
You're
hear me?
back. You're back. Okay. Uh, yeah. So